we go specifically to Termas. Terma. As I said, Terma is the Tibetan word which means hidden treasure. And then also indirectly it is saying revealing that Terma. So that means the hidden treasure but revealed or to be revealed. So those are the meaning of the Termas. So now one way to say this Terma teaching, of course, generally entire Buddha teaching is the Terma teachings. All teachings, and many great masters say that. For example, when Buddha gave the teachings, generally Terma teaching is the teaching of the Buddha Shakyamunis, who came 2,600 years ago. Buddha gave varieties of the teachings, all the teachings. These teachings, where Buddha brought that, where Buddha came that. According to Terma level, he revealed that from the primordial wisdoms. It's a revelation of the primordial wisdoms. So it's in a way, mind Terma. According to the Terma tradition, it's mind Terma. It's from all primordial wisdoms arising all that teachings. First, turning wheel of Dharma, second, turning wheel of Dharma, and third, turning wheel of Dharma. All that teachings is Terma teaching. Buddha not reading, copying some of that. It's all that. How he revealed that teachings, according to Buddha? Because through his realizations, understanding of the realization of the true natures, Buddha accumulated true merits for 3 countless eons in the context of the 6 paramatas. That you know. 6 paramatas. Generosity practices, morality practices, and patient practices, joyful effort practices, concentration practices, and panchaparamata practices. These all known as meritorious activities that Buddha practiced and that Buddha shared to us to do practices. And merit also can be divided or not can be divided into 2 sections, known as the wisdom merit and the accumulation merits. These 6 paramata practices are these 2 merits. First 3 paramatas are the accumulation merit practices, which is generosity, morality, patience. Those all are known as within the accumulation merit practices. Last 2 of the panchaparamata, which is concentration and, paramatas, 6 paramatas, concentration and panchaparamata. These 2 are the wisdom merits. And so now, first 3 are the accumulation merits, last 2 are like wisdom merits, and then what about the fourth one? Fourth one is joyful effort paramata. That is assistant to both accumulation merits. Joyful effort needed to accumulate the merit accumulations. Joyful effort will be needed for the wisdom paramatas. So it is like joyful paramata is like fuel of the both paramatas. To accumulate that to merit is what Buddha did. According to the teaching, Buddha removed all obscurations. Obscurations are also there is a variety of kind of way of explaining, but the obscurations are 2 obscurations, all summarized. The emotion obscurations and knowledge obscurations. Buddha removed that. How he removed it? According to the general Mahayana teaching, Buddha removed it gradually, one after another. And how long it takes? 3 countless eons. It took that. Gradually, with joyful effort, never give up that goal and the beauty, our projections. And it's something that's good for us, good for us. Buddha never give up. Buddha never tired, never bored, never thought that's enough. Is continually driving forward with the beautiful goal to benefit of all sentient beings with the best upon compassions. This 6 paramata, the foundation of 6 paramata is compassion, is bodhicitta that you all know. So six paramata is the tool to accumulate, to activating the bodhicitta. Bodhicitta, if we can also summarize more kind of down to that simple way, is compassion. So six paramata is absolutely based on the pure compassion. Has no discriminations. It's pure, unconditional compassion, or even more. No grasping, no clinging. Compassion. That way, Buddha accumulated merits. And when during the accumulation, they were developed what? Then 5 paths, 10 bhumis. Those gradual, those are the way to purify that obscurations and revealing the beauty and the natures of this nature. So purifying the emotional obscurations, purifying the knowledge obscurations. When it is completely purified, then Buddha is known as fully enlightened. Fully enlightened. Fully enlightened, then you are become the ruler of your primordial wisdoms. We are not diluted our primordial wisdom, or our primordial wisdom is not diluted. You become the ruler of the primordial wisdom. Once the primordial wisdom is revealed, then all those teachings that came from that primordial status, based upon compassion, based upon loving kindness, based on exactly where things are. Nothing higher, nothing lower, nothing overstated, understated. It's exactly where things are. And that is what in the teaching said, two truths. Exactly where things are relative truth, exactly where things are an absolute truth, exactly how they both are relative truth and absolute truth. Even though they divide as absolute truth, but the relative truth, reality level, they are same. It's the same status. Absolute truth is relative truth, relative truth is absolute truth. It's the same status. That's how it works. So Buddha's teaching is the teaching of the exactly where things are, nature, exactly as it is. And for that reason, gracious teacher, Buddha Shakya himself said, he is simply just a teacher. He is a teaching showing the way things are. It's nothing, Buddha's teaching is a mystery or nothing can be anything more than that. It's exactly where nature is. So therefore, in the larger scope level, entire Buddha teaching can be as, not can be, is like mind, wisdom, Terma, wisdom, mind, Terma teachings. Terma teachings. Then if we go specifically, all those teachings, how they appeared in his stories, one after the others. It is particular, for example, we look to the Panchaparamana teachings. 100,000 stanza teaching of the Panchaparamana teaching is revealed by the Nagarjunas. Nagarjuna brought these teachings. Nagarjuna. And in the teachings, the Buddha gave those teachings in the virtuous peak mountains, but teaching this appeared in the human world. Who kept this? Who kept by Nagas. Actually, in the Panchaparamana teaching, as also variety kind of different sections. There is the largest sections of the Panchaparamana teaching, and middle sections of the Panchaparamana teaching, and the small sections of Panchaparamana teachings. Largest sections of Panchaparamana teachings are kept by the gods, and the middle sections of the Panchaparamana teaching is kept by the Gandharvas in the teachings. And the small section part of the Panchaparamana teaching is kept by the Nagas. Because all these gods and the Gandharvas and the Asuras and the Nagas are the disciples of the Buddha Shakyamunis. When Buddha gave the teaching, they all attended and received the teaching. So they kept this. But this Nagarjuna become the teacher of the Nagas, according to his stories. And then they offered to Nagarjuna whole 100,000 stanzas of Panchaparamana teaching as like offerings. And Nagarjuna is also renowned as one of the great medicine men, doctors. And the Nagas has, according to teaching, Nagas has often a lot of health troubles. And one time they got a lot of health troubles, couldn't really cure easily, and they invited Nagarjuna and cure those diseases. And because, as well as because of that reason, then Nagarjuna received the whole Pandyaparamita teaching, or the 1,000 teachings. That's the renown. Again, this is the reality level, is Terma, even though it's named as Terma. Terma teaching is Terma. Then all the Tantras, if you think, all is like, even though it's officially not named, in historical they are not named as Terma, but reality level is Terma. It's not existing in the human world, those all. Those are. They are revered by the many great masters, one after another, one after another. All the, you look at the history of Tantras. These are Terma teachings. So we have to think larger scope levels, what that Terma is. That is how all revered. And for example, Kalachakra teachings also. It's, of course, nobody says as a Terma again. But reality level is a Terma. It's not existing in India that time. Buddha gave these teachings. And many historians said just before his Mahaparinirvana or after his enlightenment. Many scholars have a different kind of stories. But anyway, when he gave these teachings, he gave teaching again to the many celestial beings, not the common worlds, and including the king of the Shambhalas. Shambhalas and many celestial beings of the Shambhala kings came to receive this teaching, and they take their teachings and receive their teachings. Around the 11th century or the 10th century, then Kalachakra again reappeared in India, a famous master known as Dongyal. So in a way, even though he don't say that exactly in his story, but he revealed it. Dongyal revealed that teachings. So therefore, when we look at all these ways, it's mostly like teachings of the many Terma teachings. So Terma teaching is the mainstream of the way how the teaching is preserved, how the teaching is continued, and how teaching is maintained. That is the kind of general way to understand. Now we go specifically to the Nyingma schools. The Nyingma school has preserved the lineage teaching by two lineages that you all know. Kama lineage and Terma lineages. Kama and Terma lineages. Now Kama lineage, everything. What are those Kama teachings are generally? The Kama means oral transmission lineages. Oral transmission lineages are again mainly the teachings on the inner tantras, and such as Mahayoga, Anuyoga, and Adi Yogas. Again, everything of the how this teaching came to this world is all taught by the Buddha Shakyamunis in a different forms, different deities, emanated different deity forms. The Buddha give teachings in the celestial realms. Why Buddha have to give this in the celestial realms? In the teaching often said that human world that time they are not ready to receive teachings. Because the Buddha's teaching is according to the readiness of the individuals and their capabilities, Buddha gave the teachings. Buddha never forced any teachings. And also in the teaching said, Buddha gave the teaching as doctor give the medicines, as property needed to the teaching. That. Or in also another example in the teaching said Buddha gave the teaching exactly way we human grows. For example, how our parents, when baby time, what baby will eat. Or infant time, and then baby time, and child time, and then grown up time. Foods are provided according to their capabilities, according to their readiness, and never force. Force will make obstacles. Therefore, Buddha is known as full of skillful means, full of balance, full of understand exactly where things are, should be done. So Buddha gave the teaching according to that. So that time, teachings are not ready to give, such as in a Tantra teaching or the Tantra teachings, or even Mahayana teaching, many are. Not Buddha gave openly. But the Buddha gave this teaching in a celestial. They are ready, they are very recipient, and they are ready to receive these teachings. So Buddha gave teaching. And they kept all the teachings. And then when the human world is ready, those teachings are then revealed by one after another. One after another that came in the teachings, such as and all that teachings. And those are teachings, how the teachings are continually preserved, then known as the Karma teaching is preserved by the three lineages that you all heard. The mind-to-mind transmission lineage, and oral symbolic transmission lineage, and oral transmission lineage that continually preserve that all those teachings. And each of those inner Tantra teachings has all that three lineages: mind-to-mind transmission lineage, and the symbolic transmission lineage, and the oral transmission lineages. Each of those are contained. And mind-to-mind transmission lineage is the Dharmakaya Buddha gave the teaching at mind-to-mind transmission lineage to the Dharmakaya levels, without as a subject and object, without as activity, beyond any activities, give the teachings. How they give the teaching? Maintaining perfectly that realization status and be in that status, and all the audience also experience or realize the same thing. As water merged to the water, or light merged to light. There is nothing really to anything, it is beyond the action, beyond the activity, beyond the wordings. So, what in the teaching said? The wisdom body of the Dharmakaya transmitted as mind-to-mind transmission lineage to the wisdom, or ocean-like wisdom retinues. Retinues without as actions or activities. So that is the what. And who are those retinue ocean-likes? Are like 5 Dhyana Buddhas, and male and female. All those are the retinues of the Dharmakaya Buddhas. That is really that how the mind-to-mind transmission lineage transfer. The second is symbolic transmission lineage. Symbolic transmission lineage also contains the mind-to-mind transmission lineages. It's contained. But now, symbolic transmission lineage become later more action with activities, with the subject and object. That transferred, I think many of you know in history, is two. Symbolic transmission lineage has non-human beings and with human beings. Two groups start. And non-human beings are such as that it started from such as Buddha, 3 Buddhas, Manjushri, and as well as Avalokiteshvara. Avalokiteshvara and Vedapanis. As they are the principal disciples of also Buddha Shakyamuni, they are also as in order to benefit for the beings, they appeared as bodhisattvas. But reality, they are Buddhas, absolutely, totally enlightened Buddhas. So when they appeared as a disciple of the Buddhas, and then they received the teaching of this. So all these Anatantra teachings. So then they transmitted these teachings symbolically. What is that mainly these symbolic teachings are connected with the Mahayoga and Anu-yoga teachings. And then they transferred. And the Manjushri transferred all the symbolic, by the symbolic lineage systems with the mind-to-mind transmission lineage to the God's realms. And Avalokiteshvara transmitted that teaching same way to the Nagas in the teachings. And then as well as Vajrapani transmitted that teaching to all the Yakshas. And so that's how they transmitted these teachings. So that is really how the human or non-human lineage, symbolic transmission lineages. And then second is human symbolic transmission lineage with the human beings. That started with I got in the teaching about 27 years after Buddha Shakyamuni's Mahaparinirvana, and then the three excellent great Vidyadhara gathered in the Shri Path, or the meteorite mountain, which is many great masters identifying that in Sri Lanka. Lanka there is known as the Shri Path mountains. And the top of that mountain, these five excellent Vidyadhara gathered together, and they made special yearning recklessly, because they see Buddha Shakyamuni is inside Mahaparinirvana. Now who will dispel the darkness of the world? Who will usher everyone to the enlightenment, all that? Those different kind of statements, about 27 different yearning statements they made. And that moment, Vajrapani appeared in the sky, and he gave the teachings. He gave the teachings. Even the Buddha is in physical Buddha is entered Mahaparinirvana, but the teachings in all this existing, and this is what it is. So they revealed all the inner and teaching, particularly Mahayoga and Anuyoga teachings. And that moment, that then they also hidden those teachings. As they received their teaching, they hidden it back in the sky, in the teachings. And then later on, then soon after that, then all the teachings are started coming. Mahayoga teaching, Anuyoga teachings came to this human world, and started with King Zai, and as well as Bimalakirti, the famous Vidyadhara or the Bodhisattva Bimalakirti. In the Tibet is known as Latsamba Tramami Tapas. So that's how that teaching came. So that means also this Mahayoga, Anuyoga teachings, all are connected to as like Terma teaching, how that came in this world. Even the Buddha gave teaching. So this is how it is. And then Mahayoga teachings, generally it has two main teachings. The Tantra sections of the teaching Mahayoga and the practice aspect of the Mahayoga teachings. And both came as Termas. And now the practice aspect of the Mahayoga teaching, I will go over here how this in the teaching said again that this great the Ed Vidyadharas revealed this teaching, or they received this teaching from very famous secret wisdom Dakini, known as Lady Wang, and she handed these teachings. This is the practice aspect of the Mahayoga teachings. Those are commonly also known as Adheruka teachings, which is, again, how that is happened here. Again, I will say that this great Vidyadhara gathered, this 8 great Vidyadhara gathered in the Sarvachara, or the coal group places, which is not so far from Buddha Gaya. That identified, there is very famous cemetery called Coal Group Cemetery. And where there all these 8 great Vidyadhara come together and meditating, and that moment, then the great secret wisdom Dakini, Lady Wang, appeared in the direct perceptions, appeared right in front of them, and then she handed with Heruka teaching to 8 great these masters, one after another. So first is Uttara Herukas. Uttara Heruka, that teaching is in the locket, the golden locket, and she handed that to the great Vidyadhara master Bhaman Matras. And the Yangda Heruka teaching is in the silver locket, and she handed that to the Vidyadhara master Hunkaras. And the Yamitaka teachings is iron locket, and she handed that to the Vidyadhara master Jampar Shini or Manjishri Matras. And the higher Nirva or the Pema Heruka teachings, all that is in a copper locket, and she handed that to the Vidyadhara master Nagarjuna. And Vajrakalaya teaching, Vajrakalaya Heruka teaching is in a turquoise locket. He handed that to the Videdara Guru Sambhavas. And then all the Dakini teachings and are in the red stone locket, red garnet or red stone locket, and that he handed to the master Videdara, master Dana Santatas. And all the mighty force of the worldly beings, like they kind of like how to capture and how to activate their power to the beneficial ways. That teaching is contained in the garnet locket, the brown garnet locket. He handed that Videdara master Rombam. And then all the Heruka teaching known as Dhamma, so all the mantra and more particular mantra aspect of the teaching. The mantra aspect of the teachings are again in a Zayadram, and that is in Tibet. Garnet has many different line of the garnet. That locket, garnet, stone garnet has many lines. It is Tibetan known as Z. In that locket, it has, and she.
I think it's agate.
Agate, sorry. Agate, thank you. And the agate locket is Z locket, and she handed that to the Shenten Garbhas. So that's how really she handed that teachings in the locket, and she handed to these great masters. And they are the revealer of these great Heruka teachings, of the practical aspect of teaching, which is known as Heruka teachings. Then all that, particularly that the combination or the embodiment of all the Heruka teaching is known as Dirshik Dvipa, embodiment of the Sugata. That teaching is again a locket known as all the jewel combination locket that which made out the different jewels in that locket, and she handed that to Guru Padma Sambhava. So that makes 9 Herukas. And then later on, and that Guru Padma Sambhava also give that final teaching to the Heruka, which they don't have that. And they also that Videdara's teaching of each of those masters give that teaching to Guru Padma Sambhava. So Guru Padma Sambhava become the holder of the entirely Heruka teachings. So that is really about how this entire these teachings are really also this Mahayoga, Anu Yoga, and the Adi Yogas came. In particular, maybe I should talk Adi Yoga. Again, Adi Yoga is the same. It's a Dzogchen teaching. Buddha gave that teaching, but this teaching not happened in the human world. And who revealed that teaching? Who brought that teaching in this human world? By Garab Dorji. So, even though it's not really mentioned as Terma, but it is Terma. Garab Dorji revealed that teaching, what Buddha already gave the teaching. In the celestial world, he revealed that teaching in this human world and he shared that continually. So that is really about generally all these teachings are very much connected to the Terma, even they don't have the names of the Terma teachings. So that is really talks. Now I go to the